people to see me in a weakened state.
People have real problems and no one gives a shit.
I don't want people to see me as ungrateful or anything like that. I was nervous that that's what this makes me look like.
Cue the laugh.
Lots of people to thank for this video.
God, you're annoying.
Is that inappropriate?
You're kidding, right?
Dude, like, bro.
Weird.
It is a colossal disaster.
After weeks of memes, non-stop TikToks, and online chaos fueled by fans, the Family Guy team has finally broken their silence at least.
I've got my Baymax blanket, which I use when I have anxiety.
According to insiders, their recent parody of Snow White went viral, sparking a storm of reactions. And while the creators haven't made any official statements, sources close to the show say the writers are standing by their jokes.
I can only make grilled cheese.
That sounds right.
Especially the one that seemed to poke fun at the controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler and her comments about Disney's live-action Snow White.
Celebrities. They're just like us.
Now, to be clear, Family Guy didn't put out a press release. They're not known for apologizing or doing damage control. But people close to the show say the message from the writer's room is loud and clear. We just said what everyone else was already thinking.
Like, in the eyes of the law, you have to be nice to me, and I'm an adult.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
That rumored quote has been repeated on gossip blogs and across Reddit. Many believe the Family Guy team saw the chaos around the movie and decided it needed a punchline.
Feels like a zoo to get through baggage, but it's actually super empty here.
And Rachel Zegler? She unintentionally became the perfect target. What makes the whole thing even more interesting is that they never even mentioned her name in the episode. They didn't have to. Just one scene showed Peter Griffin panicking as a roller coaster labeled Disney stock crashed behind him, and he shouted, "What is everything?" That moment alone said enough.
Wow, my abs are popping off.
Somehow she has to not burst out laughing.
Rachel, once seen as Disney's next big star, was now being used as a symbol for how Hollywood storytelling has lost its magic, and for how studios are focusing more on messages than actual emotions. Sources say the Family Guy crew didn't expect the reaction to blow up like it did. But once the episode went viral, they didn't back down. They know when they've hit a nerve, one insider said. And this one definitely did.
Last time I checked, I'm old as hell.
The silence from the creators only made the moment louder. No explanations, no behind-the-scenes talk, just the episode, and the internet doing the rest. Fans online started pulling apart every second of the scene. Every line, every background image, they analyzed it all, even if the writers didn't mean it that way. And still, those close to the show say the team watched it all unfold with quiet satisfaction. They didn't just make a joke, they made a statement, and it landed. They delivered a brutal message to Hollywood without ever naming names. And yet everyone knew exactly who they were talking about. That's what made it powerful.
We were given a golden goose opportunity, and that golden goose is belly up.
Viewers didn't need a cartoon version of Rachel Zegler giving a speech about feminism or fairy tales. They connected the dots themselves. And when a joke hits so hard that the name doesn't even need to be said, it's clear you've struck a chord. It all started with a simple scene. Peter Griffin is watching TV. A beautiful woman appears. "Wow, she's hot," he says. His friend responds, "That's a boy." This happens a few more times until Peter gets so confused, so overwhelmed, he yells, "What is everything?" That line quickly took off online. People turned it into a meme, printed it on t-shirts, and even edited it into movie trailers and political debates. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. Just days before, old clips of Rachel Zegler had resurfaced.
It was a magical time, and I'm a Disney princess, and it was just very magical.
In them, she called the original Snow White outdated, criticized the prince as creepy, and said the remake would have no love story. On their own, those comments were already controversial. But paired with Family Guy's chaos, they hit even harder. Viewers were already frustrated. Characters they once loved now felt unfamiliar. Classic stories were being replaced with heavy-handed messages and political themes. Instead of feeling entertained, audiences felt lectured. And somehow, Family Guy, through its usual silly humor, captured that frustration better than any serious article could. That line, "What is everything?" quickly became a symbol. It represented the confusion and exhaustion viewers felt trying to keep up with Hollywood's constant changes. And at the center of it all, whether she meant to be or not, stood Rachel Zegler. Sources say the Family Guy team knew exactly what they were doing by staying quiet. This wasn't by accident. It gave them protection from backlash while letting the public shape the narrative. They didn't point fingers, they just gave the audience enough breadcrumbs to figure it out on their own. Once the episode aired, TikTok exploded with mashups. People edited Rachel's old interviews with scenes from the show. Twitter users posted side-by-side videos, Peter shouting, "What is everything?"
I am not asking. I am demanding.
Next to Rachel calling the prince a stalker. YouTubers didn't even ask if she was the target they assumed she was. Family Guy wasn't alone. Long before Peter's meltdown, South Park had already taken aim at Disney with its special episode, joining the Panderverse. Unlike Family Guy, they didn't leave things to interpretation. They named names, mocked executives, and directly criticized the studio's direction. Their parody of executive Kathleen Kennedy holding a magical object called the Panderstone gave her power to add diverse women to every franchise whether it made sense or not. And the line, "Put a chick in it and make her gay," went viral overnight. That moment became a battle cry for fans fed up with modern blockbusters, feeling more like lectures than stories. And though they didn't say her name, people once again connected it to Rachel Zegler and her version of Snow White, a film some believed was too political and too far removed from the original. Sources close to South Park said the creators knew exactly what they were doing. They saw the backlash building and jumped in first. And when Family Guy followed later, the fire had already been lit. All they had to do was fan the flames.
You know what? I can't wait to quit social media. I'm like so ready to just throw my phone away. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna happen at some point. And everyone's gonna get mad at me and they're gonna be like, "No, because of me." Or they'll be thrilled and be like,
"Thank God Rachel's getting off social media."
Before all this, Rachel Zegler was meant to be the new face of Disney, an empowered, modern princess. But somewhere between viral interviews, a box office bomb, and two brutal parodies, that image began to fall apart. Insiders say her team hoped the criticism would fade, that taking a break from social media or starting a new project would help. But every time someone replays Peter Griffin's Scream or Cartman's Multiverse Breakdown, Rachel's name comes back into the spotlight. Whether fair or not, she has become the face of a larger cultural backlash, not because she was the worst part of the film, but because she spoke the loudest. She became the symbol of a movie many people felt wasn't made for them. And just when it seemed like things might die down, new rumors sparked fresh outrage. According to multiple reports, Disney is planning a live-action Tangled and Rachel Zegler is allegedly attached. Within hours, Not My Rapunzel was trending. People were furious. The same actress from a movie that flopped now cast in another major role? When Rachel Zegler was announced as the new Snow White, it caused an immediate uproar online. But the controversy wasn't just about her. It was about what her casting symbolized to many fans. People felt like Disney wasn't just updating a fairy tale, they were changing a beloved classic without showing proper respect. The original Snow White story, especially Disney's 1937 animated version, is known for one iconic description: skin as white as snow. That line is not just poetic, it explains the character's name and image.
"Let the bloat be bloat, let her bloat."
Nobody wants a movie about true love.
So when Disney chose a Latina actress to play Snow White, some fans felt confused. It wasn't just about race, it was about why and how the change was made. Some saw it as bold and inclusive, while others saw it as rewriting the character's identity. But what really stirred up trouble wasn't just the casting, it was how Disney and Rachel handled it. Instead of showing excitement or love for the original movie, Rachel made several comments that upset fans. She called the original Snow White story weird, criticized the prince as a stalker, and said the new version would focus on independence, not love. What could have been a discussion about updating old stories turned into something that felt more like rejection of the past. People who grew up loving Disney classics felt like they were being told those stories no longer mattered. Instead of celebrating a new chapter, fans felt like the old ones were being mocked. Online, it didn't take long for the backlash to go viral. Rachel became the face of that backlash, targeted not because she's untalented, but because fans felt betrayed.
This clip is already 9 minutes long on my phone, and I bet you learned nothing.
Shows like South Park and Family Guy picked up on the outrage, turning it into jokes that only made things worse. But the jokes didn't come from nowhere, they reflected real frustration. Disney's approach seemed tone-deaf. Fans felt they were being lectured instead of entertained. And that frustration grew louder every time another awkward clip of Rachel's interviews resurfaced on TikTok or YouTube. Meanwhile, Disney's reaction was surprising: silence. The company, known for tightly controlling its image, gave no clear defense of the project. According to reports, internal panic set in. Early on, there were talks about trying to change the conversation, maybe by releasing feel-good trailers or focusing on Gal Gadot's role as the evil queen. But after the internet turned Snow White into a meme, Disney decided to go quiet instead. They pulled promotional videos, canceled behind-the-scenes content, and stopped putting Rachel at the front of the campaign. Their new strategy seemed to be, let the outrage fade. But it hasn't. Every few weeks, something new reignites the conversation. A meme goes viral. A clip gets mocked again. And each time, it's a reminder that Disney no longer controls the story. What makes this situation even more unusual is that both sides of the internet are criticizing Disney. Conservatives say the film abandoned traditional values. Progressives say the execution felt empty and forced. Even liberal podcasters and influencers who usually support diverse storytelling have started asking tough questions. Why does this feel so fake? Why didn't Disney try harder to make it work? The response isn't just disagreement, it's disappointment. People saw a press tour that felt awkward, cast members with no chemistry, and marketing that didn't seem sure of itself. Rachel's interviews didn't help. Joking that no one is coming to save Snow White might have seemed empowering, but to many, it felt like a dig at a story they loved. And now, Disney is preparing for its next big remake, Tangled. Insiders say the company is nervous. Some even claim early meetings included backup casting discussions in case things go wrong again. With an expected budget that could pass $500 million when marketing and reshoots are counted, Disney is taking a huge financial risk. After reportedly losing nearly $200 million on Snow White, fans and investors are wondering why do it all again? People aren't excited about Tangled because they've seen this story before. Not the fairy tale, the pattern. A beloved movie gets a remake that feels less like magic and more like a lecture. Promises to honor the original get replaced with interviews that tear it down. And instead of applause, there's silence and sarcasm. Rachel Zegler now finds herself in a tough spot. She's clearly talented. Her performance in West Side Story was well received. But now she's known more for viral clips and awkward sound bites than her acting. She became a symbol of what people feel is wrong with Disney's approach, more focus on politics than passion. Her career isn't over. She's still young and has supporters, but to win back audiences, she'll have to do something rare in Hollywood. She'll need to show humility, take accountability, and prove herself in a role so strong it drowns out the noise. As for Disney, they're moving forward with more remakes, but the shadow of Snow White hangs heavy. The jokes, the boycotts, the lost trust, it all lingers. And with the Simpsons reportedly planning their own parody of the situation, this could become the first time 3 major animated series, South Park, Family Guy, and The Simpsons, all took aim at the same movie and the same star. So the question now is, can Disney win back its audience? And can Rachel Zegler recover her image? Or will this all become another cautionary tale in Hollywood, where stories that forget their magic end not with applause, but with silence?